Happy New Year, everybody. I wanted to share with you a ritual that I performed on New Year's Eve night to clear everything out from 2024 so that I can move forward in 2025. Well, I should correct myself. It started off that way, and I did include 2024, but I also added and before. 2024 was not a bad year for me, and this shouldn't be done just for people that have had a bad year. It should be for anybody that wants to remove the things that no longer serve them and clear way for 2025. I actually started formulating this ritual back in October, and it evolved into what I'm going to share with you guys tonight. So you don't have to do this on New Year's Eve. This is something that you should do when you are done with the past. And I am done with the past. I had a really good year, and I wanted to remove things that no longer served me. I wanted to keep the lesson, but I wanted to remove people, places, and things that weren't good for me. I didn't do any specifics with this spell. And I know that if anybody that follows me, I don't do anything that is against anybody else. And so when I said in the spell, remove people that are not meant for me, I didn't have anybody in mind. I wanted the universe or God, or however you look at it, God or goddess. I myself look at God and goddess. I wanted them to remove those people from my life with love and light. Nothing angry, nothing in any way negative in this spell. I wanted the energy to be love in every way. Love for me, love for my friends, love for humanity. Things that these last couple years, the energy in this world have been really heavy, and I don't want to become that. And so that was a big part of it. As far as like a romantic love, that even that doesn't matter to me anymore. I did have my husband in this cord cutting to release me and move on from his death. And I actually tried doing that once before, and it was a fiasco. And if anybody follows me on TikTok, they saw it, and it, like, the whole thing set on fire. It was pretty scary. So I put it out, and I didn't go any further. So but I was very angry, and I was very mixed up, and I was very confused. That's the difference this time. I am not confused, and I'm very confident in what I want. And that is, I want a fresh start for 2025, and everything that I've experienced in the past, I want to leave it there. Take the lesson and leave the rest behind. And so that's what this spell is about. And I will share with you how I did this. First, I collected several things that I wanted to use. And like I said earlier, I have been formulating this plan for quite some time during Yule. And what I did is I had this machine that I've shown you, this paraffin wax machine, and I bought new wax. And while I was doing my hands, while I was doing my hands, I didn't do my feet yet. I thought about, how my DNA was going to be in this wax when I peel it off my hands. So I did, when I peeled it off, I formed it into the shape of a woman at first. And then something made me want to put her hands up, like the goddess symbol. And so I did. And I felt like I was going to be connecting with the feminine power of the goddess. And so I ended up doing that, and then wound up wanting to add more to it. So I took some of my grandmother's herbs, or the recipe of my grandmother, and put it on top of the wax while it was still soft. And then while I was doing this, I was putting the intent in there that I wanted to become the best version of me. I added some salt for protection, and I originally had picked this little jar to use for the end of the spell that I'll talk about later, but I ended up using something else, so I didn't use that jar. I grabbed the string that I wanted to use to break the cord, and I grabbed two candles to represent my past and me. I grabbed something that I could etch into the candles, in both of the candles, what I wanted them to represent. I chose red for me. I usually pick purple, but something was different this year. So I'm an Aries, and red represents Aries, and it represents action. And I knew that that's what I wanted this year, is action in some of the things that I have difficulty with, certain defects that I have. So I grabbed this candle and decided that that was the one that I wanted to use. You can use any color that you want to represent you. That part is, personal choice. You are going to etch your name into the candle and what it is that you are striving for in 2025. And with the black candle, I chose black for the past, and I etched in there 2024 and before. I also grabbed this particular string because I really like the way it burns, and it gives a little bit more of a pizzazz than, regular string does. So I use that string when I do a cord cutting. You want to make sure that you etch into these candles exactly what they represent, and then hold them for a minute to put that intent into the candle. The power comes from you, not from the candle. I skipped setting up the candles, but this is basically what you do. And I keep the string higher at the top near the flame so that I don't have to wait so long for it to break the cord. And as you can see here, I moved ahead into where it was right at the cord to show you this part of it. I don't like to show the whole spell when I'm actually doing it because of nefarious people can fuck around and find out. So I leave out bits when I'm actually showing you a spell I'm doing. And as you can see here, this is the past, and it is, moving towards me to remove and break the cord. And we broke that connection. And I loved that part because it made me feel like that was the lesson that I was supposed to take with me, but the rest was there to burn. And that's exactly what I wanted. And then it shows the two connecting and forming this incredible flame. Both of them were so incredible at the same time. I feel like it was a very successful spell that I had done, and I got the lesson, and they heard me, and then all of a sudden it got really calm. My past got really calm, and I feel like there was a really solid release there from that, and that I have made peace with things that have happened in my past. And now, at this part with me burning so vibrantly and so actively, I feel like it was the goddess, putting those things, those intents that I wanted in it. And I didn't share this earlier, I put the goddess on the other side of me because that's the part of me that represents me as well, and the part of the future that I want to move towards. Now, putting the goddess there, that was completely optional. You don't have to do that. It was something that I did that just came up while I was doing it. And that's pretty much how spell work works, right? When you're formulating it, you will come up with these ideas that want to be added, and you just add them. And I love how the candle started melting in the flame and the wax went towards the goddess symbol and me and what I am. And I feel like there was a complete connection there with me and the goals that I had set for the future. I also forgot to add that I had put the herbs that I have that I use, that was my ancestors' recipe, around the candles, along with the sea salt that I had as a protection barrier while this spell was being performed. And I also want to add that I do a safety clause before I do any magic, and I did a sacred circle, which I've talked about in past videos. I will be sharing those formulas and those techniques that I use on my website and anoldfriendstudio.com. And if you subscribe to the website, you will receive newsletters every Sabbath, and it will have different tips and different recipes that are only meant for you. Plus, you get a special discount for being a subscriber, and you get to read other people's experiences on healing, on art, on witchcraft, on spirituality. It's going to be more, and there's also my shop. There's also my shop if you want to buy something. So there's my shameless plug. And getting back to this spell, it went really well, and my candle burned out pretty quickly. I'm not going to show the entire thing. I'll go straight to the end. And actually, what had happened is I I was sitting there because the entire time that the candles burn, I focus on them and put the intent in what that I want from this spell, this cutting. So I will study how the candles burn, the way the flame burns, and how it changes, and look for any signs that I need to know while it's happening. And it went on for long enough that I was in one place, focused completely on the spell, and I began to get this horrible pain in my root and sacral chakra. And let me tell you, I have some issues with those two chakras. So as soon as the pain was getting so unbearable, I knew that something was happening with those two chakras. And as much as I was pleasantly surprised that I started feeling this there, it was extremely uncomfortable. And I held out as long as I could. And as soon as I moved, it went out and the pain went away. And I'm like, this worked. Everything worked. And thank God, because I had some real issues. And if anybody knows anything about chakras, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. So that's what it looked like when it was done. And then the past just burned so calmly, but so fucking calmly, that it took forever for this candle to go out. And let me tell you, it was humbling because it was saying, girl, you got some years. You got some years that we've got to go through, and we're going to go through it calmly. And I'm very impatient, and I sat there. I swear to God to you, this motherfucker didn't go out for about 2.5 hours. And then while I was waiting those 2.5 hours, I saw this white streak down the candle. Now, the candle is black through and through, and I've never seen that before. And I work with black candles all the time because they remove negativity. And so I'm always using a black candle for something, especially over Samhain I used a lot. And I don't know where that came from. Now, I had set those candles in some white wax, but it couldn't have gone up the candle. So if anybody's got any suggestions on why it did that, I would love to hear what you have to say. And I'm pretty baffled with that. That's something that shocked me. So here is where it came to an end, but not as quickly as I wanted it to. It was in this position for at least an hour. And I sat here like just, patience. I needed patience. I kept saying it too. Okay, all right, I know. Still work on the patience. Still work on some issues. And so yeah, that took for fucking ever, and I hope that never happens again. And I'm sure it's because I had set it in that white wax, and it just kept burning with that. And that's it. That was the spell, and that was the cord cutting. And I did this with so much enthusiasm, and I couldn't wait to just let it all go and just accept things for the way they were. I didn't need to analyze any of it anymore. And I finally, through my healing, have found faith to let the gods decide who stays and who goes. And so we'll see what happens this year on who stays, who goes, and what stays and what goes. And that's the only thing I have control over. But I pretty much handed everything over to the God of my understanding. Oh, and I almost forgot this part. I ended up not using the jar, but I used this purple pouch that I had, and I placed all the herbs and the candles and the figure of me, and I put it inside this jar. And what I'll do now is keep it on my altar for the rest of the year, and then next year I will probably bury it. I don't know. I'll wait and see what sign I get from my guides, and but I want it to be there so that it can remind me that I did do this, that I did remove the past. And if I ever start to feel like things are coming back that I had already taken care of, it's there to remind me that I already did. Distraction comes from so many different things, that from people to things and jobs and career changes and life events. All these distractions should never get in the way of your healing journey. That needs to be number one. And however you do that healing journey is completely up to you to decide. Today, my journey through recovery and healing has given me the faith to trust that the universe will provide for me, and that the universe knows best. And we have to remove some things in our life for the right things to stay. And for me, it's what I found in my heart that was the answer, not in my mind. And honestly, the rebel in me won't let me give up now. I have gained way too much to lose. And someone very dear to me said to me the other day that rebel never goes away. We learn to use our powers for good. And I'm okay with that. That's exactly the direction that I'm going with that, rebel. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe if you would like to see future videos from me. And until we meet again, stay blessed, sweet souls.